Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Bonsai's Forever. I've got a tree here that I don't remember if I've done a video on this one. I really don't think I have. It's a red cedar, or its also botanical name is a Juniperus virginiae. It is a type of juniper, but it's also called a red cedar. So this is an urban yamadori. I dug this up in my backyard. It does have a typical straight trunk here, but I also bent the trunk here. This is stuff that I did. I bent the crap out of it, and you can kind of see right in this section how this part here definitely looks like it was bent. It mingled the bark a little bit. It's got a lot of wire scarring on it from leaving the wire on there too long, which too long in this sense is kind of a relative term, because this will eventually work itself out. It'll heal out, and as the tree matures, the bark flakes like such. So as the bark flakes off, the wire scars will eventually go away. It'll take a little time, but what is bonsai except time? You know, we're working on them to make them prettier and prettier as we go. So anyway, that is where that is at right now. I've got a lot of new growth on this since the last time I worked on it. It's probably going to be a little bit tough to see on the camera. I apologize for that, but it is definitely one of my larger trees. I have another Juniperus virginiae that is probably double the trunk thickness of this one that I dug up when it was about this thick. So it's another one. I think I have done a video on the other one, so I'll have to do an update on that. But this one, what I'm gonna do is I am just going to go through and trim the ends of these branches, because as they grow, you can see everything starts growing straight up on it. So if you don't keep it maintained, like constantly maintained, it will just grow straight up, and then you'll have a bush instead of a bonsai tree. So we're gonna go through and pick some weeds first, because I always do that. I've come to the realization that I don't want weeds in my trees, because when you get grasses and some of the other weeds in there, it basically takes over the soil with the roots from the weeds. All that craziness being said, this definitely needs repotted. It is a sand based soil in here, and it does have a lot of grass roots all up in the soil, so this doesn't drain very well. I can water this and just keep watering it and fill it up and fill it up and fill it. It takes forever for it to soak through. So this is definitely going to get repotted this summer or spring. So I'm going to grab some of my tools, have them all put in this box. I go to the farmer's market on Saturdays, and I sell trees at the farmer's market. So it's kind of a new thing, kind of not a new thing, I guess. I've been going out there for 9 weeks now, so it's kind of new, really exciting. I've sold a lot of trees, which is also really exciting. That's kind of how I've been supporting my habit, if you want to call it a habit, or my hobby. I'm actually trying to make a business out of it. I don't know if I mentioned this in any of my recent videos, but I actually did register Bonsai's Forever as an LLC, so that's super exciting. Alright, so let's get back to the tree here. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go all the way around the tree, and I'm going to cut the ends off, all the branches, so that I can get it to come back into some kind of relative shape here. I'm going to try and make it to where y'all can see what I'm doing on this. I'm not sure if it's easier to see it from up here or from here. I'm not sure. So I'm just going to go ahead and get to work on it, and see how it turns out. So this is kind of a tedious process when we're going through and trimming back all the branch tips. I am going to go through, like, give an example, like on this guy here, this one here. So you've got this whole piece from where my thumb and finger is over here to here is one branch. So that's just one branch. But then on each branch, you've got the secondary branches. So if they're just really small secondary branches like this, I don't take off the ends of the little branches yet, because I want these to thicken up. I'm pretty sure you can't see me. So anyway, I want to take the ends off the larger secondary branches. Well, this is the primary branch. This would be a secondary branch. This would be a tertiary branch. So the tertiary branches, if they're larger like this one, I'll take the tips off. But basically, I just want to get the tips off of the secondary branches. And I want these branches to get closer to the tree. So I don't want to just take the tip off of here and just let it go. I want to cut it back here so that it becomes more of a pad on this, just like that. So I want it to be more of a pad. And I want to do that to all the branches, make all the branches into pads, because that's how these trees naturally grow. So I want to do this as a contorted, naturalistic style tree. So some of these branches, like I've got this branch right here, it's actually getting relatively thick. So this spring I'm going to bend this branch, because right now this branch is it's cold because it's been outside. So I don't want to bend the branches too much right now. I'll do that in the springtime, because I know that you can wire these in the fall when it's starting to cool off, but during the wintertime I don't want to take a chance in breaking any of the branches off or really damaging anything. So I'm not going to bend anything right now. I'm just going to trim it up. So some of the branches like this one, these are our already thicker branches, so I am going to trim these off at a relatively decent length here. I'm going to shorten them up. And these trees grow pretty quick out here, so trimming them back, I found that I need to trim these back a lot more often than I had been, because they grow really quickly. Because all of this growth, I would say it's a couple of months old. It's not very old growth. Here's something moving around and I'm not sure what it is. It's kind of crazy being out here in the wild, in the greenhouse. It's kind of cool because I've got all these lizards running around and frogs all over the place, which I like that kind of stuff. If that's not something that you enjoy, then this wouldn't be as fun for you, but I enjoy the little animals that cruise around out here. Rats, not so much. I don't hate rats, but I don't like the fact that they think my trees are good for bedding. So I don't like that. So they could stay out. I'm going to kind of hedge trim this a little bit. I don't need to be exact on each branch right now. I want to cut it back to where it bifurcates if I can. But if I can't, like right here, hopefully you can see this. Maybe my shirt can like be a background to it. So I've got a branch coming off here and a branch coming off here, and then I've got this part here. So I'm going to cut it back to that so it bifurcates, which bifurcation is 1 to 2. And that's kind of a big deal with the trees, any tree, really. Even if you're pruning a full-size tree, it's really good to do that, because having 1 to 2, 2 to 4, it creates more ramification, but it also opens up space in between each branch. So I'm gonna cut these back, just kind of the tips right now, and then maybe go back and do some closer cutting if I need to. Some of these branches are pretty long and I want to shorten them up so that I can make this tree more compact. These trees in nature actually grow pads. I mean, it's not something that we just do in bonsai to make them look like a bonsai tree. These trees actually do grow like pom-pom style pads. So I mean, if I'd let this tree just grow and become mature, it's going to do that on its own. But the art of bonsai is to make a small tree look like a large tree. So I think I got this branch already. Some of these branches look like they're starting to get their mature foliage on them. This one not so much, but you can kind of tell the difference. Like these branches, they've got like pine needle like needles. Then these have more of a juniper looking branch on them, and that's the more mature foliage. I'm going to trim this back. I don't want to trim it back too far because I kind of want to keep the mature foliage. And if you trim it back too much, then it reverts back to the juvenile foliage. Some trees actually look good with the juvenile foliage over the adult foliage, but I want this to start getting its adult foliage, so I'm just going to trim it back enough to keep moving forward, but not so much that we go backwards. Some of the stuff that you think is really tedious, it can be enjoyable just as much as the crazy bending and all that stuff. So enjoy your bonsai trees. You know, enjoy the whole process. Enjoy watching it grow. Enjoy trimming it. The trimming is what makes you start seeing, you know, what kind of tree you want to get out of the tree you've got. I think I'm going to cut this whole piece off. Let this be the branch here. Like that. Some of my trees, I've been looking at them after I let them grow for a while, and it's incredible because you can just see the difference in what it looked like before and what it looks like after you've done work on it. It's pretty cool. What I'm doing is I'm cutting it back to the next secondary branch. So you've got a secondary branch here, a secondary branch here. And if I wanted to make this shorter, I would just cut it back to this secondary branch, which would be cutting it off there. So like right here, I've got the end, and I've got a secondary branch and a secondary branch, and I want to cut it shorter. So I'm just going to cut it back to the secondary branch. With these trees, I'm actually learning a lot about these trees over the last couple of years that I've been working on them. Because I didn't have these kind of trees in Colorado. We had junipers and stuff, which grow very similar, but the cedars grow a little bit faster than the junipers do in Colorado anyway. So the junipers actually grow pretty quick out here, which is awesome. I know this isn't going to look a whole lot different than when I got started, but Cutting the ends off will cause it to backbud. Looks like most of the top stuff is cut back. I'm not trying to like round it off or make any kind of shape out of it right now. I'm just trying to keep the branches trimmed back and under control for now. Till spring, and then I'll rewire it in the spring. Wire some more of these branches out. I might cut some of them off or make some more deadwood out of it. But like this is like super long growth right here, and that's the kind of stuff I'm trying to get back under control. The ends of the branches, the tips, you can pinch them off. Like the very tips, you can pinch them off. You grab a piece and just kind of rock your finger against your finger and thumb and just pinch it off. And that works for later on this spring. I'll probably do that to like every single tip on here, not just the longer growing tips, but all of them. And that will help with the refinement process of the tree also. Get it back into, or get it to create pom-poms, basically. And I'm going to wire some of these branches over here that are getting all close to each other. I'll wire these out and refine the wiring on the tips of these. Really hope that videos like this aren't boring to y'all. It's wintertime. I don't have a whole lot to do during the wintertime right now because a lot of the trees have slowed down their growth. So I don't have a whole lot of trees that are making a lot of progress right now, and I can't really repot much of anything right now because even the tropical stuff that's in the greenhouse, if I repot that right now, it's not going to do well. So waiting until it starts to warm up a little bit before I start doing that kind of stuff again. And then I've got all my trays of cuttings. I'm going to be putting all that stuff into their own individual pots when it starts warming up, so that'll be pretty exciting. Some of this stuff I'm just cutting it way back because I want it to well, anyway, I've said that 100 times. I want to get it more compact. I know it's really easy to see this from y'all's point of view. I need to get some more cameras so I can set up stuff in different angles. I don't know, maybe I can move my stool to this side. It's a little heavy. Let's see what you guys can see. Maybe I can move you in. I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing. I mean, otherwise, why would I film it, right? There we go. Compost bucket over here. Get myself all dirty. It's okay. So stuff like this that's sitting way up here, I'm cutting it way back into there. So this here can be more kept. Bring this branch down again. Somehow this branch moved back up a little bit. There you go. So another thing that I'm looking at is long branches like this, how it's all spiky all the way out here to this tip. And then there's branches back here. I'm going to cut it back to those, because then those can turn into the branch. Like this. This branch comes from all the way out there. So I'm going to take the end of this off and let this smaller stuff inside grow and be the end of the branch here. Like that. And eventually I'll probably take that branch off once this gets fuller. Alright, the same thing up in this area. I've got this branch in the back part of the tree, and I think I'm going to keep this for now, because I might take this part off and let this be the branch, but I'll wire that out later on. But I do want to cut it back so that it can start forming a little bit better here. Like that, that's got to come off. So like inside here, like these long branches on the interior of the branch, I'm just cutting those back too. I'm not taking those off yet either. You might use them later. These things, when their needles dry, oh man, they are very pokey. That's why I like the mature foliage on these ones. Like the Juniperus precumbens, Nana, those ones, the juvenile foliage actually looks pretty good. And they don't get as spiky as these ones. Because once these ones, the foliage dries, it'll stick you. So it's actually very painful. Like all this stuff right here. I think you can see that. These pokey, very pokey branches. That's not dry yet, but when that dries out, it really hurts. Like this branch is really, really long. I either want to shorten that up or take that off. Actually, I'm going to just take it off now. Looks like this is pretty full in this area. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I think I need to sharpen my scissors. Actually, they're really caked up with sap. Let's get back. So I can spin this around a little bit more. See these branches over here. Alright, that looks a lot better for that part of the tree. This branch, I cut it back a little bit, I think, but I'm going to cut it back a little bit more. No, I didn't get to this branch yet. I did at the top. I didn't get the whole branch though. I've got one of these out in front of my house that I kind of want to work on. Not 100% sure if I want to bonsai it or if I want to just leave it in front of the house and make it a shrub. I haven't quite decided yet, but first time I saw it, it was a tiny little sapling, and I didn't do anything with it, and then it went from tiny little sapling to it's like 5 feet tall already. So that one's going to be fun to dig out if I do decide to. I might do a video on that one. I might not. I don't know. I don't know if I want you guys to see me struggling that much. I might though. I just might. Just haven't decided if I want to. If I want to keep it or if I want to get rid of it. Because that's like right next to my porch. Alright, I think that's going to do it for now on this trimming. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm not sure what kind of pot I want to do either. If I want to do like a square or if I want to do a rectangle or what kind of pot that I want to do. I've got a couple of pots. These aren't these definitely aren't going to be the pots that I use because obviously that's going to be way too small for this. But this type of shape, I kind of like that type of shape. It might look a little bit more red than it's supposed to because I have my heat lights on. Yeah, it's a lot more red than it should be. And plus it's a little dark in here right now. Camera's facing up and it's making it look different. Anyway, so this shape, I kind of like that shape. Just a typical rectangle with slanted sides. I don't know if those are good shapes. I do kind of like this shape. I might get something bigger like that. Yeah, so I don't know what style of pot that I want to do with it yet. I might try doing something a little bit different with it. Actually, I have another pot that I want to show you. It's got a tree in it. Pot kind of like this, like just a round pot, kind of a shorter pot. Something like this is going to be a little while because this is going to take some time to reduce the roots to be able to get it to fit into something like that. Because I also don't know if I want to do like a cascade style pot, like a really tall pot, and do that, or I just don't know yet. Maybe take the tree when I plant it and plant it more like this, hanging off out of a pot or something like that, because that looks pretty cool. I kind of like that actually. And just let this branch start growing upwards like this and make this the canopy up here and then make all this grow out. I'm not sure yet. So I think that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. I appreciate y'all's support and all your comments. I love reading the comments. A lot of you guys have been really helpful with some of the questions I've asked in some of my videos, and I really appreciate that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.